Hello, everyone. Hello,
Hello
Milan.
to you.
I'm so excited and so happy and so glad to meet you virtually in this great studio today again. How are you, Milan?
I am very good. Thank you. Very nice meeting you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's so pleasure to talk to you, especially because we will talk today about New York, one of the most interesting cities in the world, and we will talk about NRF. But before we go deep into the detail and tell you all the secrets that we have and that we experienced in during that period in New York, let's introduce ourselves first shortly. Milan, would you be so kind?
Yes, so I am Milan Lazarević, working as a general manager for fiscal solutions. I'm with the company for over a decade now, participating in many different international projects related to fiscalization. Have a lot of experience with large customers, with a lot of installations, with many different countries expansion. So yes, to sum up, this right now working mainly responsible for sales in a company, but also supervising or overseeing the other departments through the team leaders that are managing those departments.
Thank you very much. Just for you who don't know, we are together in the team since 15 years or something like that. So quite a long time.
Yeah.
Not bad. So a couple of words to myself. I'm Darko. I'm one of the co-founders of the company. Started 20 years ago with Fiscal Solutions and actually whole my career, whole my life in the retail technology. And to be honest, I started as a developer and I still love to develop. Unfortunately, I don't have so much time to do it, but as soon as I have time, I develop some crazy stuff. so, so far, so good about us. Couple of words about the Fiscal Solution company. So Fiscal Solution is company which is focused on the software development. We develop software modules for the international retailer, large international retailers, and of course, post software vendors. So we have basically two target customers, retailer themselves and post software vendors. Existing since 20 years and developing software for 27 different markets in the world. So it's a quite huge install base and huge experience that we have. For those of our people in the audience who don't know what is the fiscalization, fiscalize and chill. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to chill, but let me explain you shortly what does it mean to fiscalize and what is actually fiscal and fiscal law as we understand it and as retail understand it. It's actually a set of rules and laws which is dictating how the retailers have to work. The laws and the rules are defined by the governments because governments want, of course, to check and control the VAT payments. This is basically that. Through those laws, they want to reduce the fraud. That's very simple. But those laws have to be technically implemented into the technical environment of the retailer. So it means into the POS system, into the ERP system sometimes, even into the e-commerce solutions or any other omni-channel way of selling the items. The retailer has to be compliant with those laws. Otherwise, he's not allowed to work in those countries. So this is basically what we do. Today, we love to talk about retail, of course. You see, obviously, the name of the show is Retail Talks. But today, we will not talk about innovations, about retail trends, about really nice products that we saw on NRF. Because I think there are millions of posts and videos and talks and everything else, which is really describing deep into the detail all those things. No need to create another show talking about the same things. So what we will do today, we will present you, let's say, NRF through eyes of our company, through our eyes. What was that special that we learned and experienced during the trade show? Again, for those that are just new in the retail environment, NRF is actually one of the biggest trade shows in the world. And I would like to say even the biggest and the most important one. For example, this year there were around 40,000 attendees and more than 7,000 companies presenting and exhibiting. So it's a really, really huge. It's focused always on the retail tech. So this means it's exactly the industry that we are serving, or we are moving ourselves in that industry. And it's really, really important show. I would like to say that it's a little bit focused, maybe a little bit more focused on the US as well. But I'm not surprised about that, because lots of innovations is actually are actually created in US, and lots of companies which are creating the innovative products are based in US. And of course, some of the biggest retailers are coming from the US. So that's why I'm not surprised that there is a small, little bit more focus, let's call it like that, on the US market. But in general, it's the place for the international industry related to the technology in the retail. Okay. We are actually not that big company. So some of you may ask yourself, why did we choose to visit that fair, not just as a visitor, but also as exhibitor? And this is exactly the question that we want to answer. We want to explain you what was the reason and the target, let's say, that we had, what were the experiences that we had, and we want to answer the question, does it make sense actually for the companies like we are to do that, to be the exhibitor on such a big trade show like NRF? These are the topics that we want to discuss today. But before we start, let me just ask if somebody in our audience is coming from New York. I think from the time zone point of view, it could be possible. So I hope, at least. Because if not, that's great, because whatever I say about New York, nobody will know if it's okay or not. But if somebody's there, I have to be very careful. No, just kidding. We want to start with our discussion with New York itself. I love New York. I love that city. It's a crazy city somehow, really buzzing. It's moving around very fast, let's call it like that. And actually, I'm visiting New York almost every year, at least for the trade show, but also privately, and also for the other meetings which we have usually there. I love the city, and I was, let's say, if we are traveling to the trade show like this time, like now in January, we are actually arriving a couple of days before, so that we are able to adapt ourselves to the new time zone and so on. And that time before we start the trade show, we use actually to visit New York. And now we can make a small comparison between New York now in January and New York last time as we visited. And it was, for me at least, shortly before COVID or something like that. So this means there were some time, I think 1 or 2 years, 3 years or something like that in between. If I may compare as a first, let's say the New York back then and New York now, I think the city is getting more crazy. But crazy not in the negative sense. It's actually positive crazy. So there is much more buzzing feeling or buzz feelings around. There are much more happenings in the city. That's the impression that I had. It seems to me that there are much more people today than a couple of years before. I'm not sure if this is really true, but it was like my own impression. So everything in total, I think the city is getting, I don't know, somehow bigger and faster on one side. And this is okay. This is not negative. On the other side, I saw also some things which I really don't like, and I want to mention them as well. I think the maintenance of the city should improve. I think there are some areas which should be maybe cleaner, let's call it like that. But I saw that some at least governmental areas or governmental institutions are already doing something, and I think this will improve as well very soon. But overall and in total, I love the city, and I think it's always very interesting to visit it. Milan, what are your experiences as you arrived in January again, let's
Yes,
say, to Big Apple?
same as you. I've been in New York several times. I used to live in the United States for a couple of years when I was younger, when I was student. So I've been in New York, and I love the city. Yes, it's great. It's crowded as usual, and I mean, a lot of interesting things, always something new. But my personal experience, maybe I should not start from negative aspects, but anyhow, I think service level in general was not on the level that I was expecting it. I mean, it used to be on a higher level. At least this is my personal experience. Starting from the shops or the restaurants or bars, you don't feel that energy, and people are. I don't know. I didn't get that friendly faces and communication as it used to be in the past. And then speaking about hotel, I mean, it's not David Beckham luxury style, but it was nice hotel, of course, with the nice rooms and everything in the reception. I was very surprised when I went down for a breakfast and there was no places to be seated, and then it was very limited for the
so
food.
strange. Yes.
And then I mean, it's really strange. And I mean, it's not that it's the only hotel that is doing it in that way, but it was my first experience with such a hotel, and I was really negatively surprised. And then the same thing happened when I order. These roll-ups that we are taking for the marketing purposes for the fair, where we put some advertising about our company and so on. I took it from Serbia, and I didn't have a proper bag, and for some reason I could not buy it in Serbia, but I could find it in Amazon. And because we are traveling a lot and we are using this, I decided to buy the bag, and I contacted hotel in advance just in order to ask them how they are managing or how they are handling the packages for the guests, and they easily explained me that I should just put my name and then just order it to a hotel and it will be fine. And I was very strict about asking about all the other details which I should take care before I order it or something like that. They said, no, it's fine, just order it. And then I placed the order. And then for some reason, my plane was late for one day. So I went straight or actually I arrived late in the afternoon. And then tomorrow I had to go for the trade show. And the thing is that the working hours of this package room were exactly the same or even shorter than it was the time of the trade fair. So I was not possibly pick up my package because it was in the room, which is not working in the time when I'm in a hotel. So I tried to get that through the reception and it just didn't work. So I decided to wait for the last day because I didn't need it earlier. And then the last day, when I was about to departure, I went there to pick up my package. And then it turns out that for some reason, they had some huge mess there and they mixed up everything and they couldn't find my package. And altogether, it put some negative aspects to it. But I mean, this is from one aspect. The other thing that I noticed this time in New York, which I didn't notice before, it was related to these skyscrapers and the empty skyscrapers, which I did not understand why they are empty because it wasn't like that in the past. And then speaking to people during the trade fair, they explained me actually that during Corona, a lot of people decided to just leave New York and buy some places outside of New York, and with growing trend of home office work, a lot of these buildings just stay empty right now. So it's a huge problem for the city as well, because now they have a lot of empty space which nobody is attempting to buy or to rent for the future. And I agree with you. New York is still crazy. So this is not changing, and it's getting crazier from year to year. So
But you know what was the biggest surprise for me? This was as I bought one bottle of water, and it was even not that big one, so normal one, a little bit less than 1 liter or something like that, and it was $5. So I thought, what's that? $5 for one bottle of water. So the prices
also went crazy. Prices also went crazy in New York, and this is another aspect, yes, for sure.
But this is even, if I compare it with Europe, it's for sure double that big. So it's double that expensive, for sure. So not a really nice surprise. But okay, we talked now about lots of negative sides. Let's pick up something which was really, really, really great in New York. Tell me something. I know what you want to tell, and that's really great.
Yes, many things. One of the things that actually I was very surprised positively was related to that rooftop bar. In the past, I've been traveling a lot and I've been visiting different places, but it's just a different experience when you go to, I don't know, which was 60th floor or something like that, and then you see the whole New York out of it, and it was just something great. I did not experience that in the past, so I was really amazed by that look, by that view, and this is really what made impression on me. The another thing which I like about New York this year is the snow. And you know how it was. I mean, the people from US are also taking good care about statistics and everything. And it was New York was out of the snow for 702 days. But the thing is that the people that are actually handling the maintenance on the street were not surprised. And even just before snow started, we saw the trucks going on the street, just like throwing the rocks on the road, so they are not slippery and so on. So this is another thing. I liked Central Park. It was great under the snow with all these feeding these squirrels and just taking a little walk down there. New York pizza. This is always fun, of course.
Pizza. But I was surprised. Everything is getting expensive, more expensive. But piece of pizza is still $1, so you can find a pizza dollar.
They're probably changing some ingredients in there, so I'm not sure. I don't want to think about it. Yes, it's still $1, but I'm not thinking about it. So yes, this is a special experience. And
yes.
This NRF welcome party, this is also nice. I mean, we attended it before the show started, so a lot of people there, a lot of fun. So together, yeah, this is what I liked.
We will come to that point regarding party, because I see it, of course, very positive, but there are also some disadvantages that I see. We will talk about that in a second. Let me just give you a point, let's say, which I like the most, let's say, in New York this time. So for the first time in my life, I visited MoMA. MoMA is actually a museum of modern art in New York, very famous one, the museum in the world, let's say. And I was really, really surprised. It's huge. It's really, really big. There are six levels, I think, with lots of very interesting artworks to enjoy. But what was the most impressive for me was the mobile app, which you can use during your visit in the museum. Because usually if you visit museums, you are looking at the artworks, and if you are not really educated about those artworks, you don't know what is the history of the artwork, what is the story behind, and how is this fitting into the artist's story. But with that app, which I used, you can easily scan the barcode or type in the code of the artwork that you just want to enjoy, and you get immediately per audio or video messages and stories about that artwork, about museum and the story behind it, why is it showing that, and all this, and artists, of course, as well. So that's why it was really pleasant and really nice to enjoy all those exhibitions. But unfortunately, it's so big that you need several days to enjoy all of them. So I know for the next time, if I visit New York, I will go there for sure again and enjoy the other levels, because 6 levels in one day, it was almost not possible. So this was my biggest point. But by the way, the rooftop bar, and I want to say something to that as well. Why it was so special? Because we have to tell a short story about that. First, we wanted to enter the roof bars, but it was closed through some kind of internal party or whatever, so private or private party or something like that. So it was not possible. So then we moved to another rooftop bar, but there was a guy in front of the door who didn't like us. Even no chance to go inside. And we tried on several rooftop bars to do that, and it was simply not possible. So we decided, okay, let's go the next day and try then. But that moment, this is like being VIP customer at retailer. You know, if you are not able to get item that you want, then you want it more. So that's why the day after, the second day, the desire to visit the rooftop bar was higher, of course, bigger. And then we managed to get inside, and then it was even double that good. So anyway, it's great. The cocktails are great, and the view and everything. But it was not that easy to access it. It was even more nice. Let's say it like that. Okay, so this is now our start. We arrived in New York. We enjoyed the New York, and then the last day before the trade show started, we went onto the venue to visit our booth, to see if everything is okay. And I have to say, this is something which is very special for me, because at that moment, you are entering the area where everybody is working, and there you see the construction machines and everything around you. It's a huge mess. You don't know exactly what you're looking for, you are not able to find the numbers of your booth. So you are looking around, and then suddenly you see your booth like a sun. This is our place. That's where we belong. Of course, it's not that, but almost. And then if you find it, then this is the first time that you see it in real life. Before that, you just saw it as a 3D, model in some software or whatever. But then you see it really in real life, and that moment is really something special for me. What do you think, Milan? Is it similar for you?
Yes, of course. I mean, I always like to go to the fair a day before just to make sure that everything is it's supposed to be, so we don't get any surprises on the day of the opening. And then, yes, it's interesting starting from the registration point and then picking up all the stuff that you need just to enter the building. And then once you enter it, then you see a lot of people moving around, taking some boxes. Then you're following the numbers, but they are somehow not in this order, but hidden, so you don't see them. And then finally, then you find your stage, and then you realize that everything is fine, and then you can, or if there are some minor elements, you can fix it immediately, and then you are ready for tomorrow. So more or less, it's pretty much the same experience for every single show. Yes.
But yeah, you are right. So if we would not do that, the trouble could be very big. So for example, we saw that we were missing some chairs because we planned, of course, the several meetings with more people than we had the chairs. And as we arrived the day before, we saw that, and then it was very easy, just like that, to organize some more chairs. So this was easy. But lucky us, we went there to see it before. Same with electricity. So it was not there, but just in a couple of minutes it was done. So I have to say the organization of the trade show is really, really perfect. You can easily find the people that can help you, and all of them are really helpful, and they manage it just like that. So it's really, really
I definitely agree. I mean, we just there is enough people that are responsible for that part, and you can always find them, ask all these questions, and they solve it really quick. So I agree with you. Yes.
Let's go to the party. Because now this was the first topic that we did on the day before. We visited, of course, the booth to check if everything is fine, and then we went to the party. Several levels on the huge big hotel on the Times Square, or very near to the Times Square. A huge venue, so really, really huge, with many thousands of people, with live music, with good food, with possibilities for networking. So really something really amazing. What are your impressions?
Yeah, I mean, from that perspective, we don't party that much, just to say. But I mean, yes, it's a good way to put all the people together so they can, meet each other, have some relaxing time before actually the show starts. This is also good for us that are having a jet lag. So at least during this show, we can get, I don't know, a little bit tired, so we sleep better before the trade show starts. So yeah, I do like it. I mean, it's they create a great atmosphere. They put some band and DJ inside, so altogether it's a nice party for the great event.
I had just in one moment feeling that it's difficult to network. Not that of course you can easily connect to the people which are near to you, but I wanted to find the people that I know, for example, that I didn't see for many years, or there are certain, let's say, like a quantity of people that you meet just on the shows every year, and you know that they are the same venue, but it was impossible to find them because it's really, really big and there are so many people, and just to move around would be very difficult. So if you didn't agree or plan some kind of meetings with someone, it will be difficult spontaneously to find somebody, let's say, right?
Yes, unless if you find each other fighting for a cake on a table, you can spend some time together. Yes.
So this was the party, and to be honest, we are not that big party lions, so we didn't stay too long, but just of course a little bit. Then we went into the hotel to be strong, fit, whatever, for the trade show day after that, and the trade started.
Actually went for the morning run, right?
Right. Oh yes, I have to tell you this story. So if I am in New York, or we are in the New York, we love to run very early in the morning, around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that, just before we kick off the day, let's say. Unfortunately, Milan was not able to join me, and I was not that good as well. So I skipped some of the runs, but we will go back and then we have to do that. So yes, but if you have the possibility, if you like to run, don't miss the chance. Go and visit Central Park and enjoy it, because there are hundreds of runners, and it's really, really motivated. It's easier to run if there are other people's running as well, at least for me. So it's really great to enjoy it and to do the early morning run. Okay, but then we went to the trade show, and I have to say the trade show this time was even the beginning, even the start, and early in the morning was very interesting. It was very crowded. Maybe because the place where we were, or our booth was really good. So it was something like main street, let's say, where lots of people are passing by. But this is okay, this is nice, but for us as a business, that's not so important, because there is almost no probability that some retailers will pass by and say, oh, I have to fiscalize maybe in Czech Republic or Slovak Republic or whatever. So the probability chance that somebody decided on spot to do the fiscalization is almost impossible. So this means for us, the place is not that important, because the location, I mean, because the people are targeting us. They know exactly that they have certain strategies and plans to expand in different countries. They know which country is the next one, and then they come to us, visit us, and talk with us about that country. By the way, Czech Republic is not fiscal, but it was. So that's why the location is very good, because you get the better feeling to belong to everything, that something is happening. But from the business point of view, the location is, for us at least, not that important. For other businesses, probably yes. Nevertheless, for the next year, we tried to get very similar location, because we want to be part of the happening, let's say, and then to be in the middle of the happening. So what do you think, Milan, about the starting day, first day, crowd, and all that?
Considering the first day, I mean, it's Sunday, and then usually it's a non-working day in US as well. But if I have to put it all together, I mean, it was busy on the first day, second day, and the third day. So it was. I didn't expect that many meetings. Of course, we had some scheduled meetings. I meet with some people that I wanted to meet during the event, but I got a lot of additional meetings that were not initially planned. And those people came to us, targeting us for that meetings, because they recognize certain advantages of our partner program and cloud solution that we heavily advertised before the NRF itself. And then we had a really good quality meetings and good, and in terms of quantity, we had a lot of meetings as well. So I mean, I've been busy all day, just being at the stand, our standpoint. And a lot of people came to us just to speak with us beside the meetings that we initially scheduled. So if I have, and comparing it with the previous year when we've been exhibiting in New York, it's completely different story. I'm not sure if it was location or it was our better presentation of ourselves or market is changing. I'm not sure, but it was completely different story. And the situation was much better than I was expecting, and it was actually really good.
I think NRF is something like indicator for the future of the retail, because if the retailers are investing, then the industry is, like going crazy, like moving and buzzing or whatever. And that's the feeling that I had. I had the feeling that the retailers wants to invest again. Lots of them told us even that. And then the industries which are serving the retailers are, of course, trying to do better products and to serve the retailers much better. And I think that's what you see during the trade show. And compared with a couple of years ago, it's totally different, absolutely. So I don't know, the day or year before, and it's actually before COVID, it was almost nothing. It was really empty. And nowadays, 40,000 people. So it was really huge. To be honest, I enjoyed it a lot because we didn't have any, how to call it, any time to do anything else, because it was just a meeting after meeting, and there were just two of us, so it was not easy to serve all those meetings, of course, but we didn't have time to do anything else. So that's why I think that's great for the business, of course, but it's not so great for own personal education, for example, or in order to understand the markets, what's happening in the moment, because we didn't have time to visit other companies and to see what those guys are doing for great things. So that's why, from the business point of view, this year was, from my point of view at least, much better than all previous years. And I think I had a great feelings, I have to admit. It was really, really nice.
No, for sure. I mean, some of the conversation that we had during the NRF continued, and it goes into that direction. So I agree with you, yes.
Okay, talking about booth that we had, what do you think? Was it enough? Because we had just around 10 square meters, so it's a quite small one. And we were thinking about making it bigger. But what do you think? Do we need to be something bigger? I mean, the company like we are, which is actually very focused on something, do we need something big with lights and commercial advertising?
No, I mean, from that point or from that perspective, that's never-ending story. I mean, there is you have unlimited possibilities, because if you want, I don't know, to add additional 10 square meters, then you can add additional 10 square meters, and it depends what you want to do and how you want to dominate through the show. But for our purpose and for our company and for our business, I think it's completely sufficient just to be over there, to have our own small booth where we can actually welcome our customers and the guests and partners and potential customers, I don't know, everyone who are interested to speak about fiscalization topic, without making any huge marketing and presentation event from it. I mean, I've seen a lot of huge stands or exhibiting area for some large companies that most of the time are empty. So I think our main focus is and should remain connecting with people and networking and being able to be there and welcome them and speak to them, rather than having a huge space and then, I don't know, organizing the parties all the time and not being focused so much on the business, and I don't know. So I think we should keep it simple. What I would do about it next year, I would think about different furniture style, because from that perspective, I think the complete area would look a little bit nicer, and I think it would be easier to handle all the meetings that we have from what we've been using right now, the simple chair and a table. So I think this is the only change that we should make for the next year.
Yeah, maybe something more convenient, like a living room atmosphere or something like that. People are a little bit more relaxed. I totally agree with you. But coming back to the big stands, big booths, which we saw and which are usually present on that kind of trade shows, I know the prices, let's say, or we know the prices. And guys, I can tell you, this is so expensive if you create such a big booth with, I don't know, 100 square meter or something like that, which is not that much, let's say, if you are a big company and you have lots of products to present. So it's really, really expensive. So it's, from my point of view, always the decision, does it make sense to invest so much money, let's say, in order to present a couple of products? Or do you want more to present your competencies because this is your product? In our case, our competencies and our software is our product. I can understand if the company has a big hardware or lots of different hardware, then they need lots of space to show it. Otherwise, it will not be possible. So for these kind of companies like Diebold Nixdorf, NCR, and so on, I even can understand to have the big stands. But just with the smaller companies like we are, it doesn't make sense from my point of view. Okay, so some of our meetings were not on our booth. We had to move around, let's say, to find the other partners and customers. And then we had a chance to see a little bit around us. What I saw is AI everywhere. everywhere. It means in each and every type of the product which you have, you could see AI. From my point of view, it doesn't make sense at all in most of those products. In some of them, it makes highly sense, absolutely. But people are putting AI today in everything just because it's buzzword and it's nice to have it, and they will maybe attract more investors or whatever. So AI is absolutely dominating, let's say, the trade show. And the next week we will have Eurosys, and I'm expecting pretty much the similar picture, that AI will be all around. So this is first thing that I just saw. The second topic that I saw on those ways to the to the meetings was very interesting and new area which was dedicated to the food retailing. And this was really, really good, because now they defined a special area just dedicated to the food retail. But I don't mean supermarkets and this kind of food. I mean hospitality. I mean vending machines. I mean C-stores on the petrol stations and this kind of food environment. So not the supermarkets or similar concepts. And this was very, very interesting area. So there were so many systems to see and to learn about that you usually never get in touch with. So it was really interesting to understand that part of the retailing. So I love that. Did you visit that area as well, Milan? Did you saw that?
Yeah, I went through it, and I think a lot of interesting things, but did not spend so much time on it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had time as well, so I had just to run through. But as the fiscalization is going deep in some of those areas, like for example vending machines, it's interesting area for us as well. But tell me, what was, let's say, what you saw and what you think that it's very interesting?
I went to the innovation lab because every year I go there to see what in which direction the retail is moving and what are the new trends or what could become a trend in a couple of years. But haven't seen so much. As soon as I entered the area, I saw Meta. And all right, Meta is a huge company, and I agree it's innovative, but I'm not sure if this is the place where Meta should promote itself. Of course, they promoted the Oculus and then the virtual reality, augmented reality, and the products they have in their portfolio, but not sure if their place is over there. I saw some other companies that are actually promoting themselves, but some of them were founded in 2004. So from my perspective, if you are not a startup and 20 years ago, if something was innovative 20 years ago, it's not today for sure. So this was also another surprise. I was expecting to see these Meta Ray-Ban glasses. I read somewhere or seen it on the internet, or maybe I just mixed it, that it will be promoted somewhere on the NRF, but I did not searching long enough, so I haven't seen it yet. No. What else is interesting, or if I consider the complete trade fair, a lot of attention is given to the omni-channel and the order management. I see that as a huge priority because it's important to be able to process this order in different segments and different channels of the company. And this is also something that I communicate with our customers, because in fiscal countries, this is especially problematic for them. So I think there is a lot of attention to it. And what I also see, it's very important, and it's also visible on the trade fair. You remember how it was during the Corona period? Everyone moved to the e-commerce and online shops immediately. All the businesses, of course, this was natural and logical, but we all expected that this is not going back, that it will remain in that way. But this is definitely not the case. And a lot of companies are now favorizing, retailers as well, but the manufacturers and solution providers are favorizing this style. So there is a lot of solutions or concept which are favorizing the brick and mortar stores over the e-commerce and online stores. So I think there is a lot of, let's say, POS applications which are not cloud-based and which are working on the standalone systems and working in the offline regime. And some of them are actually bringing that as a competitive advantage against all the other companies. So I think this was also something that I seen between the lines during the trade show.
Maybe just to explain to our audience, if we identify, or the way how we identify something like that is actually by talking to the retailers, because the retailers are very interesting to understand if certain models and certain business concepts, let's say, have to be fiscalized or not, and that's why they are asking us and talking to us about the different sales models and retail models or retail concepts. That's why we are able to understand and to ask about their strategies. So, and if the biggest fashion retailer in the world is telling us that their strategy are the physical stores nowadays, so then you know that something is changing and something is different. And if you hear that from a couple of biggest retailers in the world, then you can be sure that the trend is actually going other way or in the other direction than we thought. But it was a big surprise for me as well, because I was expecting that online retailing will become more interesting and more in focus than physical retailing. And it seems to be exactly opposite. And to that sentence, it's fitting my, let's say, observation. I didn't see anything or almost nothing related to the social commerce. And this was something that I was expecting, because it's going near to or it is very near to the online e-commerce, online shopping, and so on. Social commerce would be the way of shopping through the social networks. And I was expecting that there will be lots of companies doing that, because in Asia, for example, it's very popular, less in the Western part of the world. And I was expecting to see something around that. I didn't see anything. So this means the social commerce is almost not in discussion at all. And even the topics like metaverse and Web3, which were the topic a couple of years ago, were actually not really in the focus, or even not at all. So I even didn't see any companies, maybe 2 or 3 companies. That's it, no more. So I don't understand completely why is that like that. And I asked one of those retailer, why is that like that? Why do you focus on the physical stores? And he asked me back, or he answered back with a question, why are you visiting the trade show? And this is exactly explaining the situation. The people want to communicate in real life again. And the retailers understand that. We understand that. We want that. That's why we visited as exhibitor the trade show. And the retailers understand that as well. And they're pushing now that strategy. So this is how I could explain, let's say, to me, these kind of things. I visited this innovation hub as well, and I saw a couple, and I totally agree with all points that you are just saying. But I saw also some very interesting innovation. For example, one of them was related to the digital product passport. So there is a new regulation in the European Union that companies, retailers, or first the brands and then the retailers, have to provide something like a digital passport, a digital ID for every product which they are selling. And this ID should contain the information about the product and all the details of the, let's say, what is the right name, the way how the product was produced and came to the retail. And this is a really good thing, and this is by the law, so it will be like that, I think, already in the next year or even in this year. And the fashion retailers have to start with that, I think, even this year or latest beginning of the next year. And I was surprised that just one company showcased the solution for that. It was blockchain based and so on, but just one company from France. I didn't see anything else. Maybe we will see more solutions in that area on Eurosys, because it's more oriented to the Europe. But I was expecting to see something more about that in US as well, because the US retailer that are active in Europe have to follow that rules as well. Let's see. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, so let's make a small conclusion, let's say, about our time in New York, about NRF, about next year. What do you think, Milan? What would be the conclusion about our trip to New York?
Definitely more people, not only from the perspective of meetings that we have, but in general, I had a feeling there is a lot of much more people visiting the fair and actually walking through the lines. Atmosphere was a bit better. I could say that I at least have that feeling that it was during a trade show. It was kind of friendly atmosphere and good conversation, good meetings. If I speak about business results, I'm happy in which direction that goes. It's very hard to measure because we are not selling apples, so I cannot measure if I sold 2 or 5 apples or whatever. But the meetings that we had during the fair, the communication over the topics continues, and some of them is actually some of these conversation going into the business relationship and going into production. And for the others, we are still in communication how we should and if we should organize some business concept that will work for both sides.
What do you think? Does it make sense for the companies like we are to be in New York at NRF?
Yeah, definitely, because I think it's in the world that we live today. Of course, it is possible to have a communication via different applications and in different time zones and in different cities via, different online platforms. But of course, it's different when you are over there and when you are speaking to someone face to face. Plus, it gives the different look to the company when you are actually presenting yourself on such an event and when you're part of this big family, because of a lot of other names that are there during the show. So together, I think it's something that the companies that are doing the good business and that are planning to grow and that are interested to expand it further must be part of that family, because otherwise they are just not considered professional enough. This is at least my point of view.
I can totally agree with you. I see it absolutely same. For us, it was actually never the discussion, shall we do it or not? Because for us, it was clear that we have to be there, because there are so many people that we know in the industry since 20 years, let's say, and just meeting those people for a cup of coffee, it's already very valuable, even if you are not selling anything, but just to exchange the information, what's happening in the world. Those guys knows better than any magazine or any newspaper what's going on in Asia, what's going on in Africa, what's going on in Canada. So if somebody asks me what is the best way to inform yourself about the market and what's happening in the market, I always tell him, talk to the people, because these guys, those people which are in the industry, they know exactly. And already that value is for me much higher than the investment that the company has in order to be there. So that's why I totally agree with you. It makes totally sense to be part of that community, which is actually very small in total. So the IT companies that are serving retail, there are not that many companies in the world actually, and people knows each other. So that's why for me, 100%. And that's why we decided to be next year on the NRF as well. We already booked the next booth, or even paid it partially at least, and we will be there next year for sure. And there are many nice places in New York that we want to visit, rooftop bars and so on. So we have to go there for sure.
Yes.
Milan, before we finish the session today, let's use the opportunity to invite people for 2 very special events next week. Would you like to start, and then I will continue with my part?
Yeah, if you did not conclude by now, we are attending the EuroCIS next week as Fiscal Solutions. So beside myself, there will be Darko and 2 of the colleagues from the sales department, Danilo and Maya. So we are going to be there for 3 days. Just a couple of words about EuroCIS. I mean, it's same as trade show New York, but for the European market and European customers. And let's say it's more targeting that European retail fraction. Of course, there will be some companies from the US that will attend as well and that will be exhibiting during the show. But most of the people and the retailers and the companies will come from the Europe. During this event, I'm going to have a presentation. It's going to happen on the 29th of February at 12:40 on the Connected Retail stage. So I'm using this opportunity to invite you all to join me for this presentation. I will be speaking about fiscalization impact on the innovation in the retail. Usually people look on it from the negative side, but there are some positive aspects. So I will be very glad if you visit this presentation so I can share all these insights with you.
I'm sure this will be very interesting because the retailers and generally the society thinks that fiscalization is killing actually innovation, and you will prove something else. So I'm very thrilled to see it here. Absolutely. But we have a second presentation as well. I will do that on the 28th of February, 12:20, and I will talk about AI in fiscalization. Everybody's putting AI into the product, so we have to do it as well. But we created something very special, and I will actually create a release, or I will make an announcement, a very huge announcement about release, which will happen on the trade show, which will happen immediately after the presentation that I have. We will release a product, let's say, which will change 100% the way how the retailers and post-software vendors are dealing with the fiscalization in 27 countries. So I can tell you this is really, really huge, and the fiscalization will never be the same again. To get more information about that, just join me in the presentation and I will give you all details. And I will reveal even something else. I will talk about the challenges that we had during the implementation. So you will learn, let's say, from the software development company about the challenges if you work with the AI, if you want to include AI in your products, and what was, let's say, our way to overcome those challenges. So I think this will be very valuable for everyone. Join us. If you are representing the press, we will have a special press conference, let's say, day after on the 29th, early in the morning, 9:30, I think we will start. And then we can give you even more information, some very interesting facts which are behind and why we see that the changes that will happen after that release are so huge. So you are really, really invited, warm invited, and we are hoping to see you over there. Okay, so guys, I hope that you had, let's say, the feeling and excitement that we had during our visit of NRF. And the same excitement we will have and have already now for Eurosys in Düsseldorf. Let's meet there and let's chat over there about everything what you want about retail. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention and hope to see you in Düsseldorf next week. Milan, special thank you to you. It's always a huge pleasure to talk to you and to make this kind of shows, hopefully soon again.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation, and thanks everyone for watching. See you in Düsseldorf.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.